What is up, everyone? This is pretty much a short notice video I decided to do for everyone right now. As I'm actually out here walking my dog, Luna. I was sitting here thinking to myself as I'm out here walking a dog by myself tonight. Well, this evening. It is, I think it's about 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here in El Paso, Texas, where we're stationed at. And I sit here and I'm thinking, back on life and things within the last, let's say, year and a half. I feel like me and my family are truly blessed this last year. It's been less than a year, actually. Just totally blessed with everything that's going on. Please excuse the way I'm talking. I'm having some dental issues. Actually, I have to have a root canal done, and my teeth are kind of hurting. But I feel like we are totally blessed when I'm just looking back on life as I'm walking, and I'm looking at this beautiful, okay, let me see if you guys can see it behind me. Look at those beautiful mountains. Of course, this is a desert, so there's no grass. Over there's our housing development. That's where we all live at, on post in El Paso, on Fort Bliss. But as I'm sitting here with the dog, I'm out walking her, and I'm thinking to myself how blessed we are to be where we're at right now. I mean, yeah, it sucks a little bit because my husband has gotten deployed, and he's gonna be gone for a little bit, and it was kind of sucked because it happened right after we got here to El Paso. Me and the girls were here literally, I think we were here less than a week, and they all of a sudden just hey, you're getting deployed. And that was on a Tuesday. They're like, hey, you're getting deployed and you're leaving Thursday, by the way. That kind of sucked, but we know it's part of what we're signed up for or whatever. And I'm just looking over life and thinking about the different things that we have been through to get where we're at now. And it's a true blessing. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of things still happen. A lot of things go wrong. A lot of things don't always go right. But I can say that we are completely blessed and a lot more comfortable in life than where we were before a year ago from here. Because a year ago from this time right here, we actually had to move out of our house that we lived in. We lived in a 2-bedroom, really small, older house out in the country. And we had to move out of our house. And we didn't know where we were going because we had no other, rental options within our budget. And we actually ended up moving into a hotel. And, yeah, we ended up living in that one-room hotel for a couple of months with me and the kids. And my husband was working as a musician, and sometimes my mom was helping to pay for our room. It really sucked. We were hardly making ends meet or whatever. But I'm thinking, and my husband has worked so hard to become where he's at right now, active duty Army. He went from having to drop out of school to take care of his mom and his younger siblings at a young age, and then being put in group homes. He grew up in group homes as well. And then to go from there to, we got married, we had kids. Well, we had a kid together. I had a daughter before we got married, his stepdaughter, and then we had a baby. He didn't have a diploma or anything then, but he went to school. He got a GED, and he went to college for a while, but it turns out that he ended up losing his job. We had moved to another city. We lived in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at that time, and he had moved to another city. We had moved to another city, and he ended up losing his job. There was a car accident, and our car got totaled, and he couldn't get to work, so we ended up losing the job, and we ended up moving back to the small town in North Carolina we were originally from or whatever. And he was trying to be in the Army, and it was no one wanted to let him in. It was you have to have 15 college credits, which he never finished getting because he started going to college and was working. But then the car accident stopped where we could not get to school, we could not get to work, we couldn't do anything. And it pushed us back, and for the longest time we were thinking that, why is all these things always happening to us? Why so many bad things happen? And, you know, when I sit back and I think about it now, looking out at this, a lot of people would think that, you know, a place like this, they would think, oh, you know, it's like desert and it's like dead and it's like no grass. But to me, I see like absolute beauty in this place, these beautiful mountains. And, you know, it's like, to me, it's beautiful because we went through a lot to get here, you know. And now when I look back on all the different things that happened with us in life, I see them as just God telling us that, you know, it wasn't our time then. You know, it was hard for us to take then because you know how people are. They want things right then, right there to happen. And that's not how it always happens in life. But God had a timing. And it was pretty weird how our timing came about because in the beginning, like I said, my husband had always been pushed aside and told that he could not join active duty army until he got the diploma, the 15 college credits. And he was trying to do that, but then was also told that, you know, he was getting older. My husband's 28. He's actually a little bit younger than I am. I'm 34. My husband's 28. He was always told, oh, you're getting older, so, you know, at some point you're not going to be able to join active duty army. And it was pretty weird. It's like out of nowhere, one day my husband gets this text message and it says, hey, if you're still interested in joining active duty army, it's open right now. My husband, he did not like take it seriously because we had been down that road so many times before. Like people, like recruiters and stuff would message us and say those things, and then we would get there, it'd be something totally different. So my husband didn't answer. He didn't reply to the text. Something kept ticking away at my head. Luna, you're gonna get a sticker bra or something in your foot. Luna, we're not going inside of the tunnel. Come on. And trying to make sure my dog doesn't get them. Like they have like these thorns or something out here, and they keep getting stuck in her foot. But they would always tell us that, you know, we could do it, he could do it, he could join. But then we'd get there, it'd be a totally different story, and they would be trying to like feed us a bunch of other crap. So this time we went in. My husband, I'm sorry, he didn't reply to the text message. Like he just kind of ignored it. He was like, dude, like I'm tired of being let down all the time. But something kept ticking away at my head for like almost a week. Something was ticking away at my head, and it kept saying reply, reply, reply. So I replied to the message. I said, okay. I said, you know, what I need to do and what I need to go. I don't have the 15 college credits yet. I was pretending to be my husband. Most women know what I'm talking about. They've done it once or twice, but I don't have the 15 college credits. You know, I've been upset and disappointed before. I don't want to go down that road again. You know, so if they're not taking someone without 15 college credits then and a GED, then I can't join. So a couple minutes later, a message came back through. We are accepting GEDs, no college credits needed. Just go to the recruiting station now. So I told my husband this stuff, and he was like, ugh. So he finally called the recruiting office. The guy spoke with him, told him to come in. My husband went in to the office. It was a new guy that was in the office. They actually called him the cleaner. I'm guessing there were some issues in the office that we're originally, like, where we're from. I guess they were having, like, some recruiting issues there, and they called in someone to come and, like, kind of clean up the mess type of thing, I guess you would say. So we go into the office or whatever, and the guy sits down, he talks with my husband. He tells my husband, look, you know, oh, and you know what? The recruiter that was working on his paperwork when we first had moved back there had kind of BS'd him a little bit because, like, he had lied to the guy that had came in to do the cleanup. He told him that my husband didn't want to do anything. He wasn't trying to get any paperwork done, which is all total lies because my husband is, like, a very go-getter type of person. So, we went in, we talked to the guy, and the guy told my husband straight up, he was like, look, he's like, if you're willing to put an effort, then I'm going to make sure that you join. My husband's kind of like, you know, still a little bit hesitant, kind of like, oh, okay, I've heard this before, type of thing like that. So, but when he goes through with it, I said, honey, you know, just give it a chance, get an opportunity, see how it works out. See, you know, what happens is maybe the opportunity that God has set forth for us, finally. So my husband goes through with it, and no lie, before that week was out, my husband was swearing in. He was swearing into active duty army, and not only that, but they gave him, they said, you got, and it was crazy because, like I said, we were living in a hotel. In the hotel we were living in, we had run out of money, so we only had, I'm gonna tell you guys how blessed, how many blessings God dropped in our hands at one time. Okay, we had ran out of money, we were getting kicked out. Well, not getting kicked out of, but we had ran out of money, so we had like no days left at the hotel we were staying at. Okay, and we were gonna have to leave like in a couple days. It just so happens out of nowhere, this other phone call comes in saying, hey, you guys have put in for an apartment with the like housing authority in the city or whatever for like low income or whatever. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like nitty gritty with you guys, we were like low income. My husband was working as a freelance musician, and he worked for the city, but it just like was not enough. And we have a daughter, our older daughter. She has some health problems, so I run to a lot of doctor appointments, neurologists and stuff. So working for me is not really much of an option unless someone's willing to work around our schedule, and no one really wants to because we go to a lot of appointments. But anyway, we had, come on Luna, we're gonna go this way, baby. Got a call about an apartment. I'm like, oh, cool. So we go up there and we're kind of like, okay, our hopes are up, but they're kind of not up because, we know our days are ticking away in the hotel we're in. They called us about this apartment but then they probably want like a lot of money or whatever. So the lady does all the paperwork and stuff. She says, hey, I tell you guys what. She says, I can get you guys in this apartment. And she says, you know what, you're going to have a deposit, but because this is like a low income section, your deposit will only be like $160. If you can come up to $160, then you will actually have no rent while you're there. You'll only have to pay your light bill, which anybody that lives in the city that we're from, or that we used to live in, light bills themselves are about, oh my God, could easily run you like $600 or $700. This is in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. So, but we're like, okay, we need or whatever. So we have like no money, basically. So we're trying to figure out how we can come up with this deposit. My honey takes the only valuable thing we have, which is his $4,000 keyboard. This $4,000 keyboard he has is what he used to do his, which basically was what made his money. He was freelancing and going to different churches and playing there every Sundays, and then out at like different events that people would have and they would book him for. And he took his keyboard, which my husband is a musician. He loves his keyboard. His music means the world to him. And he took it and he pawned it. I will never forget this. And we go in and he pawned his keyboard. And he like was kind of crying. It like bothered him because music is life to him. Besides his family, music is life, is everything to him. And it had him really upset. And it had me really upset because he was so upset. But he knew that his family needed a home. And this was all, and then when I say the blessings dropping down, this was all like in the nick of time because we had already been to the recruiting station. They had already told us that my husband was approved. He did his swear in and that he was leaving in like a week and a half. Okay. Yeah. And in that same time period, the lady called about the apartment. So my husband went and pawned his keyboard. We were able to get the money for the deposit and get the money for the deposit for the lights to be turned on in the home. We moved into the new apartment. It was a 3-bedroom apartment, 3-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. And 2 days later, my husband left and went to boot camp. Like, he was gone. He left and went to boot camp 2 days after we moved into the new apartment. So those were all blessings. Like, what are you doing, baby? Come on. Trying to get to Target sometime this year, baby. Yeah, I'm trying to go to Target, y'all. But the dog need to be walked. And, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought talking to my dog. We moved into our apartment, and then 2 days later, my husband left and went to basic training at Fort Benning. And I was there by myself in a new place. New people, new place, all alone. No, just me and the girls in the apartment. My husband had left it with the basic training. I was by myself. I'm sitting there trying to figure out, oh my God, how am I going to pay this light bill when they're here to come in? My husband's gone. I know we're going to eventually start getting paid, but who knows when. And right around the time the light bill was due, the first paycheck came in. Such a blessing. God, just like for so long we had struggled. We had struggled for so long. Like so long we had struggled and wondering when would the opportunity come up for us to finally get, you know, some sort of breakthrough, because we felt like everywhere that we were turning at and every direction we were going in, that we were never getting the upper hand on anything. And we would see people around us, you know, they would be, I'm walking all this dirt, my white sneakers on. They would be like, they're coming through in these, you know, they're having all these great opportunities. And then there's us. We felt like we were sitting still. We were never moving. Nothing was happening. We were never growing. That's how it felt. You guys are about to hear a loud noise. It's the airplane. We actually live next to the airport on Post. So yeah, come on, Luna. All these opportunity people are getting, we're like, when will our chance come through? But anyway, back to the story. My husband, he pawned this keyboard, and I remember this so, like, vividly. I remember it. My husband's dad had also died at that same time, and his dad had left him a car. My husband went to, when he pawned his keyboard and stuff, he looked at them in the face and he said, I'm coming back to get my keyboard. And they laughed at him at this pawn shop. They laughed at him. They said, you know, yeah, everybody always says that, but nobody ever comes back. My husband said, no, I'm coming back for my stuff. They laughed. They thought it was funny or whatever. Oh, sorry, Luna. I'm sorry, baby. My husband sold the car that his dad had gotten him. Got the money. Went back and got his keyboard. And had left a little bit of money for me to have, you know, like for food and other things until he got paid with the Army, first paycheck there. So many things with us fell into place, you know. But anyway, on my long story and rant, 16 minutes, sorry y'all, but I just wanted to tell, I have been embarrassed the longest time to tell the story on, you know, how we had even gotten to where we were, or the events that led up to everything. But I feel like someone else may be going through an issue, and they might need to hear that, you know, come on, baby, come, heal. Things change, that God works in mysterious ways, that everything is not always when we want it to happen. Sometimes things are held off because God just says it's not the time. We see it and we want it right then and right there, but it's not always the time. God has the perfect timing for everything, and whenever God lines everything up and for it to happen in that time, then everything falls into place. I still to this day cannot believe all the blessings that fell on us, with us going from having like no jobs to, you know, no home, to living in a hotel, to having our last days in the hotel. Then all of a sudden, here's a job with income and insurance, you know, everything's falling. And then here's an apartment for your family to live in while you're gone. And then here's some extra cash for, you know, your family to have to be able to eat and, you know, be comfortable while you're gone. It was absolutely amazing. And I will never forget how God blessed us like that. And it made me understand that there has to be patience. You know, that God has everything planned the way he wants it to be planned. Everything in life is set in the order that God wants it to be set in. And we just have to trust him and allow him, her, or whatever the being is that's up there in the sky, or wherever this being is around on earth that's with us, that you know, created us and made us. Allow them to work it out. You know, when they say that, you know, we should not be stressed and we should not be worried, that we should just put it in their hands, I honestly believe that's a true statement, because that was us. We had no idea. Now we have moved to El Paso. We live in a huge home here on Post. Like I said, these are the houses back there. I'm walking through like the park, which is right by our houses and stuff. We live on Post. We live Fort Bliss, in El Paso, Texas. So hey, if anybody's in El Paso or headed to El Paso, please send me a message. I would love to meet up with someone, because I don't know anyone here. And I mean, we have Luna, which is our puppy we just got. She's about 5 months old. Luna, let me get this from off your arm. Hold on, buddy. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, Luna, wait. Sorry. Yeah, we have our puppy Luna. She's about 5 months old now. You know, the girls are excited about having her. You know, we're able to go out and have like dinner out. You know, when before we were so strapped for cash and everything, we couldn't do anything. We live in a huge, beautiful home, more than we ever could imagine living in and being in. I still have to do a tour of the house, which I haven't done yet because I'm still unpacking some things inside the house. So I will be doing a house tour, and I want to do one and post it up here because there are like no reviews on the houses in Van Horn. We live in Van Horn housing development on Fort Bliss, and there's like no reviews at all on the houses at Van Horn. Because I know when we first got the house here, my husband had gotten the house, and then we came down here about a week and a half later. Y'all forgive me, I'm kind of like out of breath. I'm out of shape. I'm trying to get more in shape, but we had came down later and moved into the home. When he had leave, he came and got us, and we all came back here. But yeah, I was looking for reviews on YouTube because I'm definitely a YouTuber. I was looking for videos on YouTube for the houses here on Fort Bliss, and there was no housing tours at all for the Van Horn. There were some for, you know, Rio Bravo, and I think it's called Cozumel something or another, and some of the other housing developments, but none of Van Horn. Van Horn is it's on base on Fort Bliss. You have to go through the main gates or through one of the gates to get inside, and it's on the west side of Fort Bliss. Like, there is a west side and there's a east side to El Paso in Fort Bliss. I'm just learning how those work. I'm not too sure yet, but I know we live on the west side somewhere. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna end this message, finish walking the dog so we can go home. But I just wanted to say to you guys, say to anyone, wait on God, because God knows. He knows what you need. He knows how you need it. He knows when it needs to be there, and He's got it all in control. Just trust Him. Allow them the opportunity, because if you don't fully give your trust in God, then you're not allowing them to, you're not letting them know that you trust them. You're not allowing them to work your situation out, because you're trying to work it out for yourself, and you can't do that. But anyway, I'm gonna end this video. This is pretty much a, I don't know what you call it, I guess a vlog. But anyway, God bless everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon and night, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Later. Like, comment, and subscribe, you guys.